end user. End user is nothing but who is a kind of who uses learning for themselves. Who uses I can say a kind of learner. Learner is a kind of end user who can use Workday learning for themselves. Okay, and enroll my team. Enroll my team is a specific access that is provided to all people managers, employee managers. So enroll my team is a kind of one worklet that will be available for all the managers. It comes by default with manager role. So these are the kind of in dashboard will be giving a kind of worklet. So enroll my team is a kind of item where will be providing only to managers. So for all the manager roles, this enroll my team kind of option will be available. When they click on this, they'll be getting into browse learning content screen, where they'll be able to select that particular course and assign to their team members, only their team members. They'll be not able to assign course to other team members. People who are reporting to that particular manager will be having access to assign any kind of courses to their team members. It's a kind of option where you can enroll your direct reports into learning program. So you'll be a kind of when you're actually going for learning certification, there will be a kind of question. So what is an option that will enroll your direct reports into learning program? So options could be mass enrollment, enroll my team, campaign, survey, and instructor. So instructor person who takes care of teaching, who takes care of administering the course, attendance, grades, marking grades, and all will be called as an instructor. For every course there will be an instructor, and whenever you're creating a course, you'll be actually picking the learning instructor and submit the course creation and all. So you can actually dump all those let's say if you're actually moving from success factors to Workday learning. Okay, so first you'll be picking all the learning instructors that are available in success factors and dump them into Workday learning. And whenever you're creating blended course, whenever you're creating any kind of learning program, its system will ask you to select the instructor, because blended courses are instructor led trainings, right? So whenever you're creating blended courses, system will ask you who is the instructor that you wanted to select for this course. So you will be selecting that particular instructor, who you'll be getting a list of instructors. So because you already dumped a list of instructors into Workday learning, right? So in the list you'll be getting a list of all the instructors. You'll be selecting the one who is intended for the particular course that you're creating, and then once you submit, your course will be created with the instructor. So instructor is nothing but who takes care of teaching, who takes care of administering the course, offering, including attendance, grading, anything. And so you can also have assessors, who takes care of assessing the candidates, assessing learners and all. There will be another option called assessors, who takes care of assessment, care of giving kind of learning credits based on the assessment, and all assessors will be taking care. We also have an option to select assessors as well. Similar to instructor, we also have an option to select assessors. And you can have even assessors configured while you're creating the course actually. And coming to learning administrator. Learning administrator is a kind of super user in learning actually. So without learning administrator, you cannot access anything if you're not end user. So you're taking this training, okay, as part of, since you're part of a success factors learning team, and since you're switching to Workday learning, you wanted to know something about Workday learning. And when you're in system as a kind of learning admin, you should be able to perform all the administrative related actions to all the learners. So learning administrator is a kind of super user. Learning administrator can create course, can inactivate course, can create a program, can create a campaign, can create a survey, anything, can create instructors, can add instructor to the course, can create topics, can create can create a learning related security segments. All these things, learning administrator should be able to create. So learning administrator is a kind of super user of Workday Learning who can perform all the actions related to Workday Learning. It is a kind of security group, user based security group. Okay, so there are in Workday there are types of security groups. First thing, among those security groups is a kind of user based security group which is assigned at user level. Okay, so you're an
Okay.
employee. Okay, you're an employee, you're actually a kind of Workday user as well. Okay, and
Yeah.
in order to perform, in order to give you access to take care of all learning related activities. Okay, if you are a
Mm-hmm.
learner, if you are an end user of learning system, you'll be provided learner access so that you can take training, you can enroll into the training, you can take those trainings and all. But if you are provided with a learning administrator, which means that you can perform all the learning related administrative activities in the system. Okay, so
Okay.
when you
Yeah.
are assigned with learning administrator user based security group, which means that
Mm-hmm.
you have full control in the learning system. You can perform any action related to learning. You can create dashboards, you can assign any kind of item to the dashboard, and you can actually create anything related to course lessons. You can actually dump in medias are nothing but when you're actually uploading Chrome files into the Workday system, you actually upload medias into Drive. So you actually can pick those medias into course while you're creating, and create a course, submit the course, anything related to learning, the loading courses through EIB. All these activities you should be able to perform when you are assigned with learning administrator security group. They can perform any kind of configuration. They have access to perform business process configurations. They have access to deal with any kind of core learning configurations. Anything related to that, learning administrator will be accessed. Learning administrator is a kind of troubleshooter for learning module. Okay, so
Okay.
but most of the learning administrators that I've seen are not aware of Workday Learning. Okay, so probably
Mm-hmm.
initially, they'll be depending upon Workday developers. They'll be taking Workday developers help for any kind of configuration related activities, for any kind of business process enhancements, for any kind of security group related things, for any kind of learning transactions like assigning courses, assigning campaigns, triggering campaigns, all these things. Learning administrators initially after implementation will be relying on Workday developers, and once they get adjusted with complete system, they'll be taking care of their activities. So learning administrator are kind of controllers of learning system in our organization.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
lesson can be a part of a large course that you will be creating, or a kind of standalone also. So it's a part of every course that you create. So when you create a course, if you wanted to attach a lesson to that, you have an option to attach lesson. Or if you wanted to attach a media file in the sense a recorded file, a video file. If you wanted to attach a kind of video file where learner, once they click on the link, a video will be played and all. So you can attach a media file, you can attach a lesson, you can attach any kind of survey to that one. If you wanted to trigger survey to employee, how the course has been and all, so you can trigger those surveys to employees. You have an option when you're creating digital course or blended course, whether the course should have a lesson, or course should have a kind of media file, or course should have any kind of you know media files and all. You should be able to create those things whenever you're actually creating a course. So lesson is nothing but a part of large course, or a standalone, or it can be a kind of standalone lesson in Workday Learning. You'll not have any kind of other options, right? If you wanted to attach any kind of media file, if you wanted to attach any kind of instructor, if you wanted to attach any kind of assessors, you'll be not able to do that in a lesson. So lesson must be part of a course, right? So it can be standalone, but all these options like expiry date, waiting list capacity, and enrollment, if you wanted to open it for enrollment, all these options will not be available. It will be a kind of plain standalone lesson. If when you create
But
the digital course
mm,
and when you assign media and submit it, it means that you have created a course. It means that you have created a course, and now if you wanted to assign this to an employee, you need to go through a campaign, or you need to go to enrollment, mass enrollment, or if you can
mm,
go to that particular course and related action, push it to a learning employee, you can do through enrollment, you can do through campaign, you can do. Once you create a digital course, it means that it will be available in learning catalog. You can pick the course
mm,
and you can push it to employee. And digital and blended, you already know the meaning. And digital is nothing but a kind of virtual courses, which can have a recorded videos, or kind of WebEx, or WebEx kind of trainings, you can perform through digital course. And blended courses are kind of instructor-led trainings. And blended courses will require a kind of instructor in the training, and it can be included with assessors, it can be included with instructors and all in blended courses. And that's how you create blended courses when you deal with the kind of instructors and all. And
okay,
programs is a mixture of all the courses. You can bundle all the courses into a program and make it as a kind of single curriculum, and assign this curriculum to an employee, or push this curriculum to an employee, and make it a kind of make it a kind of enrolled category for learner. And when you assign this program to Workday learner, it will be showing in their career profile, saying that this employee, let me show how it can be.
okay.
I think they have not configured learning for them. Let me see.
Okay, learning is not there.
So we are currently configuring generally if for career, and if you go to career, you'll be having generally you'll be getting here learning, and once you click on learning, you'll be
Mm-hmm.
having completion history, in progress,
Okay.
or not completed kind of status. You'll be seeing. Yeah, you have multiple tenant level setups here. So you see here, if
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to populate anything related to core HCM kind of settings, you can get into tenant level. Tenant level is nothing but top level, which is not related to module configurations, but overall in a tenant level, what
Both
has to be
tenant.
viewed, what has to
Okay.
be populated and all. So you'll be seeing at tenant HCM. And if you're actually working on any integrations, how integrations can be controlled, all those things,
Okay.
you can set up in these things. So generally, when you are actually getting into any implementation of any module, there will be a kind of separate implementation tenant called prototype tenant. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Okay.
specifically used for that particular implementation. Let's say if you're actually implementing Workday Learning, okay, you already have 2 to 3 implementation tenants separately for your organization, which you're using for implementation purpose for testing anything. But apart from that, if you wanted to, if you are getting into any kind of implementation for learning, okay, so you have 2 options here. One is go for a prototype tenant specifically for this implementation period. Let's say for learning implementation is going for 3 to 4 months of period. Okay, for that particular 4 months, Workday will be granting you access for prototype tenant to perform your learning implementation. And once the learning implementation is completed, they'll revoke back this prototype tenant access and they'll take back that one, and that tenant will not be ever available. And this is one option that you can go. The other option is you already have 3 implementation tenants, right? In that 3 implementation tenant, you can decide any of that particular tenant you can use for this implementation, and get it refreshed for implementation. And only that particular learning implementation should be ongoing in that particular tenant. No other transactions like integration development,
Mm.
integration testing, or BP testing, or any kind of. As an example, I'm saying 3, but it depends upon headcount. Okay, let's say if you're
Okay.
more than 1 lakh, okay, so you can go for 6 to 7 tenants, and depends upon your usage and your thing.
Yeah.
If your headcount
Yeah.
is somewhere somewhere around 2000 to 3000, so you can have one implementation tenant. No need of having 3 4 implementation tenants. Workday will be giving you a kind of guidelines. So if
Okay.
your headcount is if headcount is between 3000 to 5000, number of tenants, number of recommended tenants, will be 3 or 2 or 1 for integration, one for the HCM, one for payroll, one kind of recommendations. Workday will be giving. So
Okay.
obviously no one will follow those recommendations, because every tenant will be costed actually. So based on the headcount,
Okay.
a tenant will be costed around $90,000 per annum. So no one will
Fine.
follow those guidelines. Based on their requirement, based on their business usage and business requirement, they'll be purchasing those tenants.
Oh. Okay. Fine.
So basically, you will be getting a production tenant, along with production tenant, you'll be getting a sandbox, and sandbox preview. So you'll be getting two testing environments with one production tenant as a kind of subscription. And if you're going with any kind of implementation tenant, which is additionally charged.
Okay. Okay, fine.
So the more you go, the more you have to pay for that.
All right. Okay.
So these are all actually a kind of tenant setups at each area. If you wanted to configure any kind of notifications, or if you wanted to stop any notifications that are triggering from Workday, so you can control those configurations here.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to actually control any kind of integration setup here, so you can go with here anything related to HCM. So we have all the modules in HCM, right? You have learning, you have talent, you have anything, all those module setups will be available for you here. So here staffing, job requisitions related to recruiting, benefits,
Mm-hmm.
compensation, talent, payroll interface, time of learning, all the modules of HCM will be available here. And you can all the learning related configurations you'll be getting here. So we'll be seeing here what
Oh,
needs to be checked and all we'll be seeing here when we get into in deeper for training. So core HCM is a kind of tenant level setup where you can control all the module kind of activities and all. So I'm just trying to show you the company logo where you can attach
yeah, yeah.
that logo. Internet setup. So what you're asking notifications, no?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you can actually send if you wanted to send any kind of notifications, right now. So night
Okay.
notifications are straightforward to send to every it will be actually sent to every employee now. Now, if you wanted to restrict any notifications, let's say you are actually configuring any alerts or sending any kind of campaigns, okay, you're testing that one. You don't want those to be sent to employee. So in that area, what you'll be doing is you'll be actually selecting this, and you'll be giving your email address or something, test email address that you're having. You'll be giving that particular email address here, so that all those notifications will be directed to this email address, where
The
you can
email
test that notification body part, how notification is triggering, whether all the
address. Okay.
content that you have in the notification is actually
Mm-hmm.
intended or anything is missing and all. You will test that one by getting in this configuring any dummy email. And then once you make sure that everything is going good, actually in testing environment you will be doing like this, but in production you
Yeah.
will not do like this, okay? In any sandbox tenant or in any implementation tenant, while you're actually
Yeah.
testing anything, you'll do this one. But in production it
Okay.
will be like this, and notifications will be automatically triggered to employee based on this configuration. So you'll be giving actually the DL of all organization kind of things, or employee as self, you'll be giving here, so that email will be triggered to all the employees. So for each module you have kind of different categories to send a kind of notifications, okay?
Mm.
So for learning, you have learning campaigns, extended enterprise learning campaigns, expiration periods. Extended enterprise campaigns is nothing but learning campaigns you'll be actually assigning to learners, and extended enterprise campaigns, you'll be assigning to uh, contractors or contingent workers who are not employee in Workday, but still, undergoing some learnings as per organizational standards. let's say if
Okay.
there is a third party that is associated with the organization who has to go with some compliance rules, that your organization has set up. So you cannot create an employee profile for that third party agency. In that scenario, what you'll be doing is you'll be creating extended enterprise profile for that that third party agency, and you'll be assigning some kind of compliance courses to that agency to be as per organization standards in completing all the compliance courses and all. So learning expiration, basically, you'll be actually setting some expiry rules, for some kind of validations in business process. Let's say if employee is getting terminated, okay. So if employee is getting terminated, automatically, their learning account will get expired. Okay. So to
Mm-hmm.
those learning accounts, the notification shouldn't be triggered, or their notification should be not sent to their inboxes. Let's say in most of the cases, or in based on some organization requirement, let's say I'm a kind of manager, okay, and I'm getting terminated today. Okay, I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
terminated today, and by default, my account should get expired by end of today. Okay, but since I'm manager, I'll be having a lot of requests in my inbox. Okay, so what
Mm-hmm.
people will be doing is I'll be getting terminated today, but they'll make some kind of changes to my Workday account, not to expire today, but they'll
Okay.
make to that account to be available for 1 or more 2 days to actually access all those tasks that are sitting in my inbox, to see if there are any approvals that needs to be approved. This is inbox actually. So if there are any tasks that are sitting in my inbox, all my report is, their performance things, their time off things, all those approvals are sitting in my inbox. If I have to take an action on my termination date, I'll be not able to take, right, once the termination event
Mm-hmm.
is triggered. So probably that particular day I have to actually move out of the organization, and in my absence, my manager will be taking care of this Workday account for another 1 or 2 days, extending the expiry of my account. And my manager will be taking care of all the items that are sitting in my inbox. So he'll be addressing all the items that are sitting in my box. In that particular scenario, in that particular scenario, so for all learning expiration periods, any kind of notification that should not be triggered to terminate employees, you'll be setting this checkbox here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that for terminated accounts, all the intended notifications, alerts and all, will not be triggered.
Okay.
So that there will be no action for any person to take an action that is sitting in the inbox. Or
Okay.
if you're seeing any pending inbox items when learning, when an employee is getting terminated, when account is actually getting terminated, administrator will be getting a kind of alert saying that there are pending items in this employee's inbox. Terminating this account will lose all these pending tasks,
Okay.
a kind of message will be triggered,
Okay.
a kind of message will be populated. So if our tasks are gone, the actions will not be taken, right? So
Mm.
what people will be doing, they'll be reassigning those tasks to another employee, or manager will be extending the expiry of this account for next 2 days, and will be taking care of all the pending activities, and then let this account will get expired for terminated employee. In that scenario, you'll be using that checkbox.
Okay. Got it.
And yeah, so this is about tenant notifications, whatever you'll be managing, all kind of notifications, you'll be actually doing in this tenant setups.
Okay.
There is another edit tenant setup. Global is there. There, you'll
Okay.
be actually configuring all the tenant related stuffs and all. Basically, by default, by default, a buffer time will be a kind of 5 minutes, for a workday. If you're not taking any, if you're not performing any action on workday tenant for 5 minutes, it will auto log off. That is a kind of default setting, that workday provides. So customer
Right.
who actually go with single sign-on, they have a control there, because um, the single sign-on is not actually through this URL. So based on that setting, system will be getting out of your this thing.
Okay. Fine.
But by default, I can say default, when you're actually not using a single sign-on, you're actually getting into login screen of Workday and entering username, entering password, and getting into Workday. That is not a single sign-on, no. That is actually
Yeah.
you're getting into Workday through username and password, which is not a single sign-on. So when you log
Right.
in that way, and when you're not performing any transactions for few minutes, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, there is a buffer time that buffer time that Workday actually have, as per standards. 5 minutes are kind of time, that Workday defines it, and after 5 minutes, automatically, your screen will get logged out of that particular Workday tenant, and then you need to again re-log in with the username and password. But if it is single sign-on, it will be not under your control. It may it may get log out, after 10 minutes, after 15 minutes, after 20 minutes, anytime that is configured in single sign-on setup page. That is about tenant setups that we have seen, and the
Okay.
programs we have covered. Offering offering is a kind of date, time, and a kind of potentially location, where your course can be assigned. And for all learning courses, you can create an offering, and
Yeah.
accordingly, you can um, make these offerings, to only make it required for instructor-led blended courses, and location is only required, kind of those things, you can set up while you're creating offering. And when those courses are not conducted virtually, kind of things, you'll be actually performing these offering creations and all. And topics and surveys. Yesterday we discussed about topics, right? You were asking some questions. How can we access some kind of restricted to particular course? Only this group of employees should be able to access this course, and others should not be able to access. So that
Yeah.
kind of restrictions, will be maintained at topic level, and will be
Okay.
restricting security at topic level. So whenever you wanted to create any course, first, we have in the background, and there has to be a topic that must be holding that particular course. So you have to tip, a topic is nothing but a group of learning elements that we have. All the learning courses, will be part of this topic. And when you actually create course, or when you're reporting, if you wanted to run a report which lists down all the courses that are under a particular topic, you can run the report. So basically, it will be helpful for creating courses. It will be more helpful, when you're actually dealing with the reports and all. So topic is nothing but which a group of which holds a list of learning group elements, I can say. Whenever you are actually creating a program, your course will be associated with program. Okay. And now the last is survey. Survey is very important category, and most of the customers, will not have a kind of survey to be sent through courses. They have a different kind of survey kind of thing. Um so we have, where is the tenant? Probably we have a task called create a survey, so which will be actually directing you to survey screen, and you can actually generate a survey from there. So
Okay. Okay.
this is most of the customer will follow this process. So they'll be getting
Okay.
into separate the survey screen, and to whichever course that they wanted to have a kind of survey, they'll be actually sending survey notification. But most of the customers, which they'll be not interested is While creating a course, you have an option of create a survey kind of option, like how you'll be creating media, you'll be creating a lesson. You also have an option to create a survey there. So
Okay.
in that way also, you can actually send out a kind of survey notification. But most of the servers, they don't want it to have a kind of survey to be sent with course. They wanted to send survey as a kind of separate link. So create survey is a task, which will be generating a separate survey link to perform as kind of survey on the learning courses, that will be associated with the team members.
Okay.
So that's how you actually typically handle surveys. Survey is nothing but a kind of an unscored opinion poll that can be attached to a course actually. So,
Okay.
so which will
Yeah.
be taking a kind of feedback of the course, how the
Mm.
course content or anything that needs to be
Okay.
adjusted, from the feedback that employees will be giving. You can take that kind of survey along with the course or through this survey link. Yeah,
Okay.
so when you're actually attaching that to the course, what the learning administrator will be doing is they'll be having kind of a survey link generated outside of Workday system. Probably they'll be having a different survey tool. They'll be actually having all those questions, and that survey link, will be attached to the course. And when you actually submit the course or push the course to an employee, they'll be getting the survey link. When they click on the survey link, that will be directing to another survey tool where they'll be having list of questions. They can answer those questions and submit those survey. In that way also they can go with the courses. In Workday we have all the all the features related survey, but some of the customers, they'll be using different survey tool like Survey Monkey, Survey
Mm.
Panda, kind of third party survey tools, most of the customers will be using, which they would have had all the content in that survey product,
Mm.
with they don't wanted to switch into Workday. So in that
Okay.
scenario they wanted to have Workday take the survey to employees, because other survey tools will not deliver to employees. And since Workday is a kind of HR tool where it will be having all the employee information, you can send the survey information through campaign or through alert. You can send that information. So most of the customer, what they'll be doing is they'll be sharing third party survey link through Workday campaign, through Workday notification.